So what do you think of the new playoff format? Do you like the one-off and the excitement of that, or did you like the two legs?
I'm gonna go with overall. I think it's a positive. I still wish there was a home and away, but really it emphasizes how you do during the season. I think it makes it more important. So I really appreciate that aspect of it because again, I mean, having grown up in Switzerland and in Europe, that's just the season is everything, and and it's very, very difficult for you to be consistently good and end up at the top at the end of the season. That's why I think even in this league, winning a Supporters' Shield is the most difficult thing. And now I think there's obviously more incentive for you to be good during the season consistently again. So that's that. On the other hand, I think it'll be very interesting to see how teams really play with it because, for example, like Dallas coming to our place, I think if they knew they were going to play at theirs afterwards or before, they would maybe approach the games differently. I think their strength is probably offense. So now, just with one game, are they going to rest and take it to overtime? I think that would really neglect one of their strengths. I think their strengths, like I said, is offense. So does this change in the rule, does this mean that away teams are going to gun for it a bit more and stick to their positives or things that they're really good at and try to see if they can use that to win games? So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
You had time to spend the last few days reflect on the regular season and just the ups and downs and how that will help going into the postseason?
No, I think it's too early to look back at the whole picture of it. I think you can look back at a couple of games and take that good feeling into the playoffs. A couple of shutouts, a couple of wins. I think that's as far as we should be looking back. There's really no time for now to look back and lament what we've missed and praise what we've succeeded in. The job's not done, so we're here and we're in a decent position to do it. So let's look back as far as we can for us to gain confidence. And that's what I'm saying. I think the last two games were decent. Hopefully we can gain something out of those, take it with us into the playoffs, and then push ahead.
I have kind of a random question.
Okay.
One of my pet peeves when watching soccer is that when stoppage time goes up, it seems like referees never really add on to stoppage time, and then it kind of encourages time wasting because that's not really regularly implemented. As a player, do you notice that? Does it bother you? How do you sort of deal with stoppage time when you're on the field?
I think I have way more pet peeves than that one, but all power to you. For me, I when it comes to adding time or wasting time, the thing that's a bit more frustrating to me is when the referee looks at who they think is supposed to win the game, and so therefore they shouldn't be the ones wasting time. So, for example, if it's 0-0, the game is 0-0. Both teams are, it's early on in the first half, and I'm trying to play out of the back. Let's say we're away from home, but I'm trying to play out of the back. I'm clearly not trying to waste time. I'm literally trying to play out of the back. But sometimes referees have it in their head that, okay, this is the away team. Clearly he's trying to waste time. So I think that's a bigger pet peeve of mine when they're making up things in their head and then essentially changing the rules. Because I'm entitled to the same amount of seconds as the other guy on the other side. Whether he thinks we're trying to win or lose doesn't really matter. As for yours, I'm sure there's a system in place. You might want to ask the referees if they should enforce it a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, if there's embellishing or crazy time wasting on top of the stoppage time, I would say, yeah, all for it. Add that, because those are all tricks, and I think the more the referees are there to control the game within the rules, the more those types of antics will be discouraged, right? Jesse made a meal of it last time he was at CenturyLink, so I think if the referee is kind of on top of that early on, then maybe it's a bit more discouraged. Obviously, if there is seriously something going on, then it's a different thing, but just part of the game.
Sure. You were talking a little bit earlier about the way teams could change their strategy because of the one-off.
I think so.
You guys, though, there was like a little bit of a stretch there where you hadn't scored a first half goal in a while, and now you're kind of back on that change back. But I mean, do you think that some of your play in the first half will benefit or not benefit you guys, in this kind of a situation?
I think just having a bit of confidence going into playoffs will benefit you. And then the other sure thing that will benefit you is a home field advantage. I think those are the givens. Whether you are now going to dissect and say we've scored in this minute and have statistically won games if we've scored in this minute, then I think that's maybe looking at it a little too much. From a player standpoint, like I said, all I can tell you is the clear-cut advantage, no questions asked, is home field advantage. I think every person would agree on that. And the other one is if you come into the playoffs with a little bit of confidence. And so, yeah, we've been able to score goals, and we've been able to keep the ball out of the back of the net on the other side. So confidence and home field advantage are the two things that I will take from it, and hopefully that'll push us for good results.
So you guys have confidence right now?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's been an up-and-down season. A bit more frustrating season than I hoped for, to be fair, because yes, we end up in second, which is great. It gives us a really good position to do something. But I would argue maybe a bit fortunate to end up in second with the way the West has played out. Lots of teams missing opportunities. But as we all know, the playoffs is its own beast. So for us to, like I said, get a little bit of confidence here towards the end of the season, maybe it'll lead us nicely into the postseason and have us play our best spell of the year.
With that in consideration, how do you, take the fact that you did come from a clean sheet, but that there's a lot of things that need to be better defensively, and how to improve those things?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can improve on all aspects. A defense right now, we've gone away in the hostile territory and against a desperate team, and we're able to keep a clean sheet. So I have to commend all players that played for that. At home again in a difficult situation or a high pressure situation, I should say, for us to come out with a clean sheet. So I think things are clicking right now. I think when we struggled defensively, we had a couple of mental lapses here and there, and that bit us in the butt a couple of times. We have to minimize those. I think the nice thing, maybe even for home teams now too, with the change of rules, is that you want to play your best game defensively, but conceding a goal is not the same as conceding a goal, an away goal in a two-legged series. So you just need to win the game. And again, it comes down to your best chance to win the game is at home, and the team that's confident in its own ability. And I think we're that team right now.
I'm not sure you've been asked before, but there's that moment where Brad Smith gets kind of beat off the ball, and you get that one-on-one with Finley. What goes through your mind? How do you approach that, and how do you see that whole play out in your mind? Now going back to it.
Yeah, it's a difficult ball because I know what Brad's trying to do. Brad's trying to do better than just maybe kick it out of the stadium. But I'm trying to tell him to away. And then he gets caught in between two minds, unfortunately, and just so happens that then it's a matter of assessing where are you as a goalkeeper in relation to the shooter and how the ball is bouncing too. Because obviously if the ball is bouncing really high and he's looking up, you don't want to be caught in no man's land. He'll just chip it over you. Can you advance if he's going to take a heavy touch? And if everything fails or you don't see an opening there, which was the case in this one, then stay balanced and make him beat you, and was quite happy with the way I was able to play that one and get a reaction out of it and force the ball wide. I mean, as goalkeepers, sometimes we joke about, well, we don't joke about it. We say those are saves. Yeah, you maybe influenced the shooter a tiny bit, or he was waiting for you to flinch and go down. So I was happy with the way I was able to handle that, but sometimes you need a little bit of luck as well.
The Quakes game, getting 10 saves out of that one, did you feel in rhythm, or can you kind of go through,, your performance on that one? It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a decent game. I was happy that I was able to make the saves. I don't know if that was... Usually when you make 10 saves, you probably let in a couple in the same time. So I don't know, this was probably my highest one in terms of shutout saves. So happy with that. I think it set me up early on in the game with a decent shot, I think, by Eriksson, I think it was. Where the footwork came through that we constantly work on with Tommy to really get myself moving to the right side, and I was happy with that save. So that makes you feel good. That puts your confidence high, and so from that point on, obviously a little bit of luck again involved with them banging one off the two off the post actually. So you always need a little bit of luck, but happy with it. It came at a crucial time for us to get that shutout and get that win. So yeah, that's what I'm here to do.
A lot of veterans on the roster. Do you think that experience will help in this new single elimination format?
I sure hope so. I think with being a veteran also comes the realization that how much longer are you a veteran for? There's no time to waste in someone's career. And when you have an opportunity, maybe as frustrating as this season was, we are in a really good situation in terms of potentially finding ourselves at home for a few games. And who knows what happens? Injuries can happen on other teams. Obviously, they can happen on our team as well. An unlucky bounce can happen on another team, and next thing you know it, you find yourself even having a better chance. So that's why I think Supporter Shield is the most difficult to win. Because besides injuries happening there and lucky bounces or unlucky bounces there, it tends to be the most difficult thing to get, and the best team wins it. But when it comes to the cup, you never know what happens. It's a tournament. So I'm happy with where we're at, and I think we have enough veterans that have been there before and realize what kind of an opportunity this is for them as individuals, but for us as a team as well.
Levon seems like a gamer. What do you like about playing with him in this kind of situation? I mean, you're mentioning, the veteranness. I mean, he's had some big goals. I mean,
yeah, experience. Seizing the moment. I think that's kind of what I'm alluding to with. Careers are short. There's things that happen and they cut your career even shorter. Mm-hmm. And as a veteran, you have experience on the field, but you also have experience of realizing how precious the opportunities are, how far and few and far between they are. So the more you have of those people that look at those things with such great passion and sense of opportunity, but I don't know what the right word is, more than an opportunity. It's not like, oh, cool, we have a chance to win something, but it's let's go. This may be the last time I have an opportunity to win something. There's a real sense of urgency. I think that comes with experience. And that's a good thing. I think you need to have a mix of both. You need to have the one that realizes what situation we find ourselves in, and you need to have the guy who has no clue what situation we're in, so that he keeps his cool and just plays his football. So a good mix of those on a team will get you far.
This summer, Schmetz, after a couple tough results, he said, "We're the Seattle freaking Sounders." What does that mean to you when you hear "We're the Seattle freaking Sounders"?
I don't know. We're the Seattle freaking Sounders. Look, I think one trademark for this team has been to stay even keel. We've had up and down seasons pretty much every year, and they've come in different ways. For the most part in the last few years we've had slow starts. This time we had a decent start and we had a terrible middle part. But I think we always just keep putting our head down, show up for work, keep fighting, keep believing. When we win games, we don't get too high. When we lose games, we don't get too low, and we stay even keel. And I think that's been something that allows us to find a standard and find a high standard. I mean, we're talking about now 11 years making the playoffs. I think that was one of my goals this year. I wanted to make that, be part of that team, or one of those teams. And you certainly don't want to be part of the team that is going to lose it, because the standard has been exceptionally high, and I think that comes with that even keelness.